What's going on YouTube? In today's video, we're going to be checking out the WYZE robot vacuum. So WYZE just came out with this. I got on in a pre-order and they just sent this to me the other day. And I think I paid, what was it? I think $199. I'll throw a link in the description so you can check out yourself. I'm not sure if they're going to raise the price after the pre-orders or anything like that, but it looks like it's at $199. That was one of the biggest reasons why I purchased this. Number one, I wanted another robot vacuum with LIDAR sensor in it. And I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on it. And this is $200. I do have a Roborock S4 that I do like. It was 350 bucks is what I spent on it. I did review that as well. I'll throw it up here so you can check it out yourself. There's one thing I really dislike about the Roborock S4 at least is it doesn't do very well on my low pile carpet. I don't have very much on my main floor. I just have it in my living room. But for whatever reason, it just freaks out somewhere in my carpet trying to find out where it is and zooms around a little bit. Not a big deal, but I decided to check WYZE's robot vacuum out, see if it gets any improvements on that. Also, it's almost half the price less. So, or almost half the price. So we're going to go ahead and check this out today. We're going to open this up and see what you get in the box. And we're going to also, I'm going to do a little testing on it and see what I like about it, what I don't like about it. Show you a little bit about the product, show you the app itself, and just put it through the paces. So let's go ahead, without further ado, get the box open and see what you get in the box. All right, so for starters, you get the WYZE Robot Vacuum Manual. Should tell you everything you need to know about the vacuum. They do provide you 2 of these brushes. Now one's already, well, it wasn't installed on the vacuum. I already put it on there, but it came with 2 of them. You can only use one at once. They just have a spare one. Then you have the charging port. So this is a charging base here. So it backs up to this with the charging and charges it when it needs to charge. Charge, charge, charge. And it's pretty shiny plastic. At the bottom here, little area so you can wrap it the cord if you got too much cord here. You got some rubber feet at the very bottom here, so that way it doesn't move around on like hardwood floor or tile. And you got about, I don't know, maybe about a 3-foot cable here for the power cord. Not a whole lot of power cord there, but also again, not a lot of waste. So here is the vacuum itself. And as you can tell, I don't know if you can see the fingerprints I put on this thing, but you've got all the fingerprints on the top here because it's shiny black. You have the LIDAR sensor down here with the nice WYZE logo. You have a home button here and a power button. It lights up. Those are really nice tactile buttons with rubber on the very top of it. And then on the back here, you have 2 vents here, it looks like, as well as the charging port here where it'll connect to the charging base. Then you have the bumper, which is half of the actual vacuum. So this is if it bumps into something, it knows something's there and it allows it to move around that object. And it looks like you probably have more sensors right here. Now, WYZE does say that there's 7 different sensors on this as well as the LIDAR camera. So I'm assuming that there's probably about 7 or so sensors right there because I don't really see anywhere else that it could have sensors. Maybe on the back, but it does use the LIDAR sensor, so that way it can map out your room, map out your others, like the whole floor plan, so that way it knows where the walls are. It allows you to actually put up invisible walls as well as no-go areas. On the bottom here, here's the 360 brush, and then you have the nice, really rubber wheels here. This allow you to go. It actually goes through transitions of 1/8 of an inch, not quite an inch, but 1/8 of an inch, 20 millimeters. You got the brush here with the rubber catcher. So this will actually get all your vacuum debris up and all that right here. The brush will bring it into here. The 360 brush will bring it into here, just like pretty much every robot vacuum. But other than that, it looks pretty similar to most of the robot vacuums I've seen and reviewed. So at the top here, you lift this lid up, and then you have the dustbin area. So this is where it catches all, as you can see, catches all the debris in here, and it has a little dust filter too. So that way you're not, when it's sucking up the dirt and all that, it's not spreading out any dust that this isn't catching out to your house. So put that back in. And they do have this little tool here. They do have this little tool here that'll allow you to clean the brushes and all that. And this has a little cutter tool. That's really nice that they put that in here for you. I've seen other vacuums come with that, but the problem is you put that away in your junk drawer or somewhere where you're not going to find it again. This one's just sitting here and you can leave it here at all times unless you need it. So there are some things about this that I wanted to share. It does have path planning, which is one of the big reasons why I wanted something with LIDAR. I'll probably never buy another robot vacuum without the LIDAR sensor. And there's many reasons for that. The ones without the LIDAR sensor, it just bounces around and it's very inefficient. Now the suction on this is 2100 Pascal. So it actually ranks up there with the more expensive units with the Roborock and all that. So the sucking power of this, it really sucks, I guess you could say. And like we talked about earlier, it can go over 0.8 inch surfaces, uneven surfaces like that. So if you go from transition of carpet to hardwood or carpet to tile, or even a transition between one room to another, it can navigate that to, 20 millimeters or 0.8 inches. That's their rating. It may be able to do a little bit more if you're trying to push it there, but that's just their rating on this. So what I really want to do is I have this connected to my app, and in order for you to connect it to your app on WYZE is you'll hit the plus sign here and you'll do add device, and then you'll go down here to vacuum, and then it's going to tell you to press and hold the home and the power button until it says that the Wi-Fi connection has been reset. Once it's done with that, the app's going to ask you to put in it's going to find what Wi-Fi you're connected to currently on your phone, and it's going to ask you for the password or passcode, and then you'll put that in there, and then it's going to ask you to connect to the WYZE vacuum. This thing puts out a little Wi-Fi signal, so you'll connect to that on your phone, and it automatically takes over and sends that information to the controller of here, and it tells it, what the Wi-Fi it needs to connect to and what password it is, and once it connects, it asks you to update firmware. Go ahead and update the firmware, and you're ready to go. So as you can see here, it says how much area you're covering currently, which is 0. I haven't actually used this. Battery life is at 96% right now, and how much time it's used on vacuuming, which is 0. It hasn't vacuumed yet at all. So I can go ahead and go clean right now, and it knows it's away from the charger, so I can hit charge. So it'll go find the charger and charge it up if I want to, or I hit clean and it'll start cleaning. As you can tell, there is no, I don't know if you can tell that, there is no map right now currently. I haven't had it create a map yet. It'll automatically create a map as it cleans, and then you'll be able to put your no-go zones there. So in the settings menu, you can name your vacuum anything you want. You have cleaning schedules. So you can set a time and date, and then you can also tell it what rooms to do. So you can do different rooms at different times, as well as change the suction level. And then you can see the cleaning records, accessories. So it does tell you, I guess the main brush needs to be cleaned after every 300 hours. The edge brush needs to be cleaned every 200 or 2,000 hours, maybe get replaced. And then the filter needs to be replaced every 150 hours. I'm assuming that this means replaced or cleaned. And then you can also reset the map if you want. So if you're having trouble, you can go ahead and reset the map. You can also share this device and let someone else have access to it. And then device info gives you the MAC address and the Wi-Fi address to this. And then if you have an issue, you can submit a log and they can go and look into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this going in my living room area or my main floor and see how well it does, see how easy it starts mapping, and how easy it is to start actually getting it to see no-go zones or invisible walls, and kind of give you my ins and outs of what I like about it, what I don't like about it. So here we go with the vacuum on my carpet. This is my living room area, and it's already kind of started. I let it go for a little bit here, and it's doing the vacuum lines in parallel.
the vacuum already picked out the room and kind of mapped it out before this video was taken, as you can see on the app on the right hand side of the screen. So you can see it's not synced up exactly, but uh, it does have to send it up to the cloud and back down to tell you where the vacuum is on the map. It's not super behind by any means, but you get the picture here. So you can kind of keep an eye on what's going on with your vacuum from your app, and you don't have to actually be watching it the whole time. So as you can see, these red blocks or boxes on the map, those are the places I've already picked out that I didn't want the vacuum to go. Those are no-go zones. No, that I decided that I don't want the vacuum to go underneath the couch. I don't want the vacuum to get underneath that ottoman there, because if it gets underneath there, it can get stuck possibly. And they're just little areas I know it doesn't need to go to, and it'll waste a little bit more time trying to find where it needs to go there. So I just went ahead and blocked them out. When you first get started, it does spin around in 360 to find out where it is in the room and map out the room. So your first vacuum is going to take a little bit more time and more battery life, so you got to keep that in mind, because you're going to be pausing it and putting a no-go zone and all that as you go, and it takes a lot of time from you. You got to be really attentive to it to make sure it doesn't go places you don't want to go, and then just make sure you fine-tune the rooms that you're in. Also, when you're doing it for the first time, like I said earlier, your battery life is probably going to be a lot less than what it normally is. So right now we're at 75% battery life, and it's only vacuumed half of my living room. Now, I want this thing to vacuum my whole main floor, and my living room is probably, I'd say, not even a quarter of my main floor. So if you think about it as 100% or 75% of 100% is just a quarter taken off there, so it's probably not going to make it all the way on my main floor on one battery charge. I'm curious to see how well it does after it maps all of my main floor and gets going again, so that it knows what it's doing already and not having to stop and pause and put no-go zones and that type of stuff.
So in closing here, as far as what I like about this vacuum is I really liked how this vacuum did not bump into items as much as the Roborock did with the LIDAR sensor. The point of the LIDAR sensor is it should know how far away it is from an object that it's about to bump into and avoid it. The bumper is there so that way it can, if it does bump into something, it knows it's there and it can move around it. I just felt that compared from the Roborock S4 to this thing bumped into less items than the Roborock did, trying to find its way around my house for the first time. So I really like that about this. I think it utilizes the LIDAR sensor better than the Roborock. Also, the app between the two, they're about the same. Just a little bit more user interface differences on the WYZE, but both pretty much work the same way. I will say that this didn't pick up as much stuff as I thought it would in the carpet. It didn't. Some of the stuff that it left behind in the carpet was kind of deeper in the carpet itself. So maybe just not enough. It was on the medium suction. I don't know what it would do with the stronger suction, but if you look here, I don't know if you can see this, but it picked up quite a bit, and that room's been vacuumed recently. So I was actually kind of surprised in the same sense as how much it actually picked up from how little suction it used, or the medium suction level. So I wasn't super impressed by it, but also in the same sense, it still worked kind of to my expectations. I did get a little hint from some other people that it didn't work, didn't vacuum as well as maybe the Roborock, and maybe that got in my head a little bit. It is what it is. I bet you this will definitely work a lot better on hardwood and tile too, just kind of like the Roborock too. But other than that, I mean, I'm gonna put this in use for my house. I'm probably gonna leave this one in my downstairs or main level, and then take my Roborock and put it in my basement. And then the other thing I really wasn't impressed with, but I'm curious to see as I use this. I'm not sure if what they call it, battery memory. I almost call it muscle memory, but it's not. Battery memory, maybe it'll condition itself a little bit better and know exactly how much, or be able to utilize less battery when it knows where it needs to go with the maps and all that, and instead of drawing the maps for you and stopping and going. I'm really curious to see if this can do my whole main floor in one battery. As I can see, this versus the Roborock, this has a little bit less battery life than the Roborock, but I think it is rated less anyways, as it is. So, but that's just one of those things that I put there on the list of what I really didn't like a whole lot about it. Not a big deal, but still one of the things to keep in mind when you're purchasing something like this. If you have any questions, comments, or opinions about this that you saw in the video, put it in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. If this video helped you in any way, please give me a thumbs up. And if this is your first time to my channel, please consider subscribing, and I will see you next time.